Okay, in today's video we're not going to look at any new fancy distributions. We're going to look at what I actually have been using for the past few days and what I'm going to stick to moving forward, because I've actually enjoyed my overall time with it and how I've set everything up. So we're going to talk about how I use my desktop and what desktop we're actually using. So we're using obviously KDE and we're using on Arch Linux. I think this might be the first time I've actually showed just a vanilla Arch install on my channel. I'm pretty sure it is. Anyway, so the way I've set things up, we have a nice little latte dock at the bottom there, and we have a top panel with a global menu to the left. You've probably heard me bang on about global menus. I just find them very handy to use. And then if we pop open to a different screen now, we're going to open up system settings, because as you probably noticed, things aren't opening in a conventional way for KDE. So if we go into Kwin scripts, I am using the Krohnkite script. So I last showed it on the Nitrix video, because that has it installed out of the box, but we installed it on this Arch Linux install as well because I actually really like it. So I love a tiling Windows manager, but I also like the creature comforts of a full desktop environment. So I like marrying the two to get the best of both worlds, kind of like how Pop! OS does it with the Pop! Shell, although I'm slowly starting to prefer KDE just for my sort of workflow. So we're going to stick with KDE these days and sort of, yeah, we're going to be all KDE. But the way I've set this desktop up is we've got some gaps around the edges of free, and then we have gap pixel length of free as well. Everything else I've left pretty much standard. And the way it all works, if we go into a fresh desktop, so as you can see we've got Dolphin open there. If we open up a terminal, so as you can see it's quite short there, and I'll show you why I've got it that short in a moment. But if we wanted to just make it a bit bigger, we'd use our Control Alt and then H, so that was H, and then L will make it smaller. And then if we was to open up another terminal, as you can see the layout will then split it like that. You can change the default layout, but I actually find that is more than useful for how I work. So that's basically the desktop setup. So the way it works for me, I'll just quickly show you the keyboard shortcuts as well. I think I've changed a couple of them, but most of them are the same. So if we go into shortcuts, global shortcuts here, and if we go into Kwin, you can edit all of your Krohnkite tiling shortcuts here, but for the most part I've left it pretty much as a standard. One thing I do use quite a bit though is the float key. So sometimes you might just want a floating window, so say we wanted this window to float, we could then just press the Windows key or the super key in F, and then that will make that a floating window, and then pressing it again will put it back into the tiling mode. And that is kind of all I really do as far as changing the layout. I leave it pretty much as the default, and the way I work with it is, so let's just open up a few things. So that for the most part I'll be using Kden Live to edit some videos, so then that'll open it up, and then sometimes I'll have a Dolphin window open so I can drag and drop files into my property bin and project bin. So as you can see we'll have it like that, and then I'd have like the videos folder open and stuff, and then I could whip that over there, and then if I didn't want that open on this screen anymore but I still wanted it open, I would then just move it to the next desktop like that, and that is just using the standard window to the next desktop key. And then if I wanted it back, oh, we've moved the wrong one. If I wanted it back, I would then just do the same thing again, and we'd go like that, and it will remember the placement of that I set it in. So that's kind of how I work with the video editing sort of stuff. I usually have the preview screen a bit bigger, kind of like that, and then that will probably stay there because I'll be dragging and dropping a few things in here and there. And then if I wanted the full screen, as I said, I would just move it to the next display, but keeping it open just so I can very quickly bring it back open like that, and then it's there ready for me to use. So that's the way I work for this sort of video editing stuff. And also I'll have Pigeon open a lot of the time. So with Pigeon I have all of my, let's just close all of that, I have all of my sort of chat services all run through Pigeon, so a lot, even my Discord. So if you want to join the Discord server, I'll leave a link in the description below. But as you can see, all of my Discord stuff's there. So what I might tend to do is I'll have Discord open, let's just close that, and then say if I wanted to keep the Discord thing open while I was talking to people, I would just do that, and then I could have the window there, and then obviously anything that you else open will be in a tab. So if I wanted to check out what people are saying in gaming, it would then open it up in a tab like that, and then I can just sort of very quickly have a little chat while I'm doing things. And that for me is very nice and comfortable to work like that. And then again, if I just wanted to get rid of it, I'd close it. So the keyboard key that I've got for close is Window and Q, and then boom, it's gone. And that is how I work for the most part. So the other applications that I use on a day-to-day basis, well, we can see it down here. So I use Chromium as my web browser, we use GIMP as our image editor, and as you can see I have a little OneNote web wrapper there because I use OneNote for notes at the moment. Though I am starting to change that because I've just installed a Nextcloud server, and I'm hoping to sort of get rid of having to use all of these sort of proprietaries like lock you into their service thing and have my own little thing. So I'm trialing out a few note stuff on the Nextcloud server. I won't open up the Nextcloud thing for now though, but hopefully we can get rid of having to use OneNote and other things like that. And even OneDrive, I have to use OneDrive for work, so I have quite a large OneDrive, but if I can just use the OneDrive for work and then just keep all of my personal stuff on the Nextcloud, I'll be pretty happy with that. So we also have the Pamuk Manager there that we built. So I don't really use this much unless I just want to grab something from the AUR. Then I will just sort of type what I want and I'll be done with it. But for the most part, I will just use the terminal and we'll just use Pacman like that. I find that easier. But it's nice to have that there, especially if you just want to check if there's any updates to get. I don't know if there is. There is some updates to get, so let's just grab those updates. Let's type in our password and then that'll update for us. Let's close GIMP. So I've removed a lot of the KDE stuff, so I'm not using the Kmail stuff or anything like that anymore. I'm going to decide what I want to do for terms of desktop email clients. But I was just noticing it was using so much RAM with the Aconda and things like that at startup that I just wasn't very impressed with it. And I don't rely on it that much to sort of justify having it use that much RAM. So I've uninstalled it for now, and I might potentially install Thunderbird or something like that, but not have anything auto start, because I know when I want to check my emails I'll open them. I don't need desktop notifications all the time. I have them on my phone, so I don't really worry about having it on the computer here. So let's go and see what other applications I actually use. So in Office we have nothing, because as I said, I've just set up the Nextcloud, which has the Office stuff built in. So I'm going to try and sort of use that more and more and see how I actually work with that. So in Multimedia again we have Elisa for our music player. There we go, there's some tunes there. And then let's close that. So I play all my music on Elisa at the moment, which all of my music's also on the Nextcloud stuff, so I can access it from whatever device that I'm on. And then for just normal viewing media we'll use VLC, because you know, what else do you really need? And then we have OBS, but as you can see we're not using OBS at the moment because we are recording on the capture card. So theming wise, I've gone for the Chrome OS Dark theme. The reason why is I actually quite like the colour scheme, and I like the icon there. It's not too sort of in your face, it's just a little circle there. And I like the Windows buttons for minimise, close and maximise. And then what we've also got is we have Kvantum running with the same Kvantum theme. So we've got the Chrome OS Kvantum theme. So if we go into configure active theme, as you can see we've got the transparent dolphin and everything like that. So dolphin just looks a bit more pretty, like so. And that is basically the whole setup of how I look and sort of use the desktop. So if we go into my disks now, we can talk about how the disk's been set up. So this is the main disk that we've got. We've got a free partition. I've not bothered with a swap for the moment. I'm probably just going to maybe make a swap file at a later date and see how we go. I'm trying to sort of trial it without a swap at the moment. But as you can see, we've just got a normal EFI partition. We have a root and then a home, and that's what I've stuck with and what I'm going to leave it as. And then I have a couple of data partitions. So this one's called data 2, and that will be mounted at MNT. So let's just go into edit. Where's the mount options? There we go. As you can see, that's mounted at MNT/data. And then the way that all works is every time I boot up, that will then automatically load and be mounted. As you can see, data 2 is there, but if we go into computer, wherever the computer is, 60 gig, there it is. And if we go into MNT, you can see the data is now mounted there. And then what I do with that is I have my music folder, which is this one here, and that is symlinked into my home folder. So that is a symlink, soft link. So it's not a real link, it's just made with lns path and then the path of the folder. And that way I don't have to have all of my music taking up quite a large amount of space on my actual installed hard drive, and I prefer it that way, and that way I don't ever lose anything. So when I do a reformat, I'll have to change things about a bit. All of my data that I care about is still on this partition here. I also store my VMs there, videos. I don't really symlink anything else. And then we have my backup folder there. Backups I've kept very simple. What I do is I just have Deja at the moment because it just seems to be working for me, and then that will automatically back up into that computer, into that folder that we just saw. As you can see there, data. Arch, and it's the same for my laptop. So my laptops are all set up with SFTP to do the same thing into those very folders. So if we go into backup, you can see we have a couple of folders now for desktop and laptop, and then every day when I'm on my laptop, that will then chuck all the files backed up into this folder here. Don't know if we've done a backup recently. There we go, we've done a little one the other day, and then that's the way I do it. So I don't actually lose anything that way, and I don't need anything more advanced than just Deja Dup. It seems to do the job quite well, and then it's just sort of set it and leave it to do its business, and you don't have to worry about it from then on. So that's the disk side of things. What else have we got? As I said, we don't have no Office. Games, we just have Steam at the moment. I haven't actually installed my Steam library yet, so I need to go through this development stuff and see if there's anything that I actually don't need. I've taken quite a bit out so far. Games, I didn't realise how much games were included in the KDE applications package on Arch, but there was a lot. So I had to really go through and uninstall a load of sort of games that I'd never really played. But if we go to sort of KDE games, you'll see what I mean. As you can see there, pretty much all of these games were installed, and that is just far too much. I don't need any of it, so we've just closed that all off. But for the most part, that is how I've been using my computer, and that's how I'm hoping for it to stay. Icons wise, as you can see, I always just use the arc icons. I just like a square icon with a rounded corner. I think it looks brilliant. So that's the way it all works basically, and that's my actual desktop and what I tend to work on the most, even when I'm not using an Arch distribution now. Even though I've also just installed Arch onto the laptop, so even the laptop has got this exact same setup as this, minus a few packages. I don't really tend to edit too many videos on the laptop these days, so it doesn't really have Kdenlive and things like that. And the good thing about KDE is that I actually can just install the Kdenlive package as opposed to using an app image. You've probably seen me talk about using the app image for Kdenlive quite a lot on this channel, but now that we're going full KDE sort of desktop, we don't need to worry about that app image too much, and then we can just update it in the package manager and all is good. So that for the most part is how I use my desktop. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.